So starting on our mat here in crocodile pose, we'll come all the way down to the belly, send the feet out to the end of the mat, cross the arms, stack them on top of each other. Let the forehead come to a rest on the forearms and take the feet a little bit wider than the hips. Take a few moments here to allow the body to just ground into the floor beneath you. And just taking a few moments here to gather yourself, bringing yourself into the practice. Gathering your breath, being aware of the inflow and outflow of each breath. Feeling it in the back body, feeling the back ribs expanding, making room for the breath. Not restraining the breath, not sending it to any particular place, but just letting the breath flow naturally. And starting our practice here in this pose, we're turning our back to the world and turning our focus inward. And just letting go of anything that you're holding on to that's been happening so far today or maybe the last few days. And just for now, set them all aside. You can decide whether you want to pick them back up later, or you can just allow the release to let go. This is also a very good time to maybe set a little intention, a goal for your practice, but keeping it simple, such as just being aware of my breath or honoring my body where it is, just anything that comes up for you. If you need a little bit more grounding to bring yourself into the practice, this might be a good time to take a big inhale through the nose and a long, slow exhale out the mouth. And do this a couple more times. Just stay here for about 3 more breath cycles until we begin to make our transition into the practice. On your next inhale, slide the hands up underneath the shoulders and push up into a tabletop position. Knees are underneath the hips, hands are underneath the shoulders. And if you'd like to slide a blanket underneath the knees for some extra cushioning, feel free. We'll move through a cat-cow. Inhale, lifting the chin and the tailbone. And exhaling, tucking the chin, tucking the tailbone. With each inhale, we arch the back. And on the exhale, we round out the spine. So doing this at your own pace, not waiting for cueing, but allowing your breath to be the lead here and having the body follow each breath. Take 2 more cycles of breath. And on that last exhale, shift the hips back towards the heels, finding your child's pose. Whether knees are close together or whether you like the knees far apart, let the heart melt down towards the floor. The forehead either rests on the mat, or maybe you slide a block underneath the forehead, if that makes the pose more comfortable. And take 2 more full rounds of breath in your child's pose. On the next inhale, we'll lift back up into our tabletop position. We're going to step the right foot forward, coming into our low lunge. So if stepping the foot all the way through is not accessible in your body, you can swing the leg around and walk it towards forward. I like to square my foot up with my blocks, but the hands can be on the floor. Let's sink the torso down towards the floor. Gradually, we can work our way up to the knees. And if it's in your practice, extend the arms up overhead, coming into a crescent lunge. Take another breath here. And we'll return the left hand down to the block or the floor. And we're going to turn our body towards the bent knee. You can extend and reach the arm up, or you can keep the hand on the hip in this twist if that's more comfortable. Coming back facing forward, let's send the right foot towards straight, and we're going to point and flex the toes. Just waking up the ankles and the muscles along the shin here. And then pull the toes back towards the knees and hinge at the hips, coming into your hamstring half split pose. One more breath. And then on the inhale, we're going to sink it back into our lunge one more time. We'll leave the arms, or we'll leave the hands either on the blocks or on the floor. And then send that knee back underneath. Let's find some hip circles here. So it can be big or little circles. I usually like to go 3 in one direction and then 3 in the other, but you decide what works best for you. Just make sure that you're going both ways. And then coming back into your tabletop position, we're going to step the left foot forward, and we can square the leg up with our blocks or our hands on the floor and sink the torso down towards the floor. Very gently, make your way back, make your hands up towards the knees, and then reaching up overhead. We'll take the right hand and bring it down to the floor or to the block, and we'll take the twist to the left. So you can even reach your hand out back behind you, or up overhead, or the hand can come to the hips. Just turning the body towards the bent knee. One more breath. And then coming back into center. Let's extend the front leg. Make sure we're not locking the knee. And point and flex the toes. Taking a big inhale. On the exhale, we'll hinge at the hips, coming forward, finding your half split pose. One more breath. And then we'll sink back into our low lunge one more time. And then bring that foot back underneath us, coming into our tabletop position. So just making any movement that feels good to you in this moment. We'll go ahead and tuck the toes, spread the fingers nice and wide, and lift the hips up towards the sky, coming into your down dog. So walking the dog, pedaling one knee and then the other, pressing the opposite heel towards the floor. Come into stillness, lift the tailbone a little higher, bring the chest A little closer towards the thighs, ears between the biceps. One more breath here. And then you can either walk your hands to the feet or walk your feet to the hands, coming into a standing forward fold. Knees can be bent as generously as you like. And feel free to grab opposite elbows and maybe even sway from side to side. So I'll face this way. And just ragdoll it out here for another breath. Release the hands back down towards the mat. On the next inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, fold. Reverse swan dive, come all the way up to standing. Bring the palms together. And then exhale, hands to heart center. I'm gonna grab my block. If you've got a block or maybe a pillow or something that of the equivalent size, we're gonna bring it between the thighs. And feel our feet grounding into the floor beneath us. So if you feel yourself going out to the outside or the inside, see if you can make that adjustment in the feet so that everything is nice and squared. So we're gonna do a sun breath movement here, about 5 rounds of sun breath. And doing this with the block between our thighs, we're just making sure that we're activating the thighs and feeling that sensation. So with the inhale, bring the arms up overhead, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, and exhale, release. Reverse, come back up to standing, palms come together, and exhale, hands to heart center. I'll talk you through it one more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, release. And then reverse swan dive. Come all the way back up to standing, palms come together, hands come to heart center. So 3 more rounds at your own pace. Matching breath with movement all the way. And the last round. This time we're going to stay in the forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway, and then exhale, staying here. We'll start to bend the knees, extend the arms, palms facing each other, sinking back towards our heels, coming into our chair pose, Utkatasana. So we're firming up the belly, pulling the belly button towards the spine, finding your chair pose for 2 more breaths. And on the next inhale, come back up to standing, and exhale, release. You can put the block back down onto the floor, and we'll find our mountain pose, our Tadasana. Roll the shoulders back, palms coming forward. So maybe roll the shoulders back a few more times. Perfect. Let's inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Left hand grabs the right wrist, gently pulls you over to the left. Come back into center, right hand grabs the left wrist and gently pulls you over to the left. Inhale, back up to center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold forward. I'm going to come to my blocks here, and I'm going to step my right foot back into a high lunge. So lifting up the heel, keeping the hands on the blocks or on the floor, wherever it's most comfortable for you. So pivot the foot, let the foot come all the way to the floor so that's parallel with the short edge of the mat. And we're going to come up into a side angle pose. So the left elbow comes to the left thigh, reach and stretch. You might even want to take another circle of the arm here just to get into that extended side angle pose. Taking another breath. And then bring the hand back down to the blocks or to the mat. And we'll step back into down dog. And with the next inhale, shift forward into your plank. Knees can be lifted or they can come down to the floor. And we'll lower down onto our belly, elbows hugging the ribs. Inhale, lift into cobra. Exhale, fold. Tuck the toes, lift back up into your down dog. And then again, you can either walk the hands to the feet or the feet to the hands, coming into your standing forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, release. And then inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart center. If you are at the back of the mat, you can walk forward. And if you're at the front, depending on how you came out of your down dog, you can stay where you're at. So inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. And this time we're going to step back with the left foot, coming into the high lunge here. Heel is lifted. And then we'll pivot the foot so that it comes down to the mat. Make a big circle with the left arm. Right elbow comes to the right thigh. And we come into our extended side angle on this side. So another breath here. And then turn back into your lunge. We'll step back to our down dog. Inhale into plank. Lower down to the knees or all the way to the belly. Find your cobra pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, push back up through tabletop and sink into your child's pose. Take the knees extra wide if you like. And feel free to walk the hands out. Staying here for about 3 full breaths as we come in and out, feeling the breath moving through the body. On the next inhale, lift back up into your tabletop position. And we're going to work on our hips just a little bit more here. We're going to take a frog pose. So depending on how open your hips are structurally, is completely, it's just the genetic issues. So you may never be able to get all the way down into a frog pose, but that's okay. We're going to take the knees a little bit wider. We'll ease our way into it. Turn the toes out, keeping the knees bent, and come down to the elbows. And then just stopping where you're feeling sensation, but not too much incredible pain. And just letting the body sink into the pose, sending the hips back towards the heels. And if this is a pose that is definitely not in your practice today, feel free to explore a wide leg child's pose. You can come back to a cat-cow or find something that feels good in your body in this moment. I am just here to make suggestions, and this is about your practice. You find what fits best in your body. So 2 more breaths wherever you're at. And then we're going to come all the way down to the belly and send both legs long and straight out behind you. Let the forehead come to a rest on the floor or on a block or maybe on a rolled up blanket. And we're going to start first by lifting the right leg, letting the heel float up towards the sky as high as you're comfortable, and then lowering it back down. Take it to the other side, let the left leg lift, and then lower. And we'll just keep alternating legs, lifting one at a time. And then one more time on each leg. Take a breath for rest here. And with the next inhale, we're gonna lift both legs and then lift the arms. They can either come back behind you or you can send them forward, coming into your version of locust pose, however you'd like. One more breath. And then release the hands and the legs back to the floor. Push back up. We'll come to tabletop and go through 3 rounds of cat-cow. Beautiful. After that last round of cat-cow, let's go ahead and come to a seated position. If you'd like to sit up on a bolster or a blanket, feel free to explore. We'll take a big inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And on the exhale, we'll let the left hand come down to the floor, the right arm reaches over, finding a nice side bend. So opening up the side body for a couple more breaths. Inhale, come back up to center, and we'll go the other direction. Inhale, come back up to center. Both arms extend up towards the sky. Shoulders are pulling away from the ears. And we'll move into the twist. So right hand comes to left knee, left hand comes back behind. Take the gaze back to the left shoulder for 2 full rounds of breath. Inhale, coming back into center, palms facing each other, and exhale, twisting in the opposite direction. Inhale, come back into center, and then exhale, release the hands back down by your side. We're going to make our way onto our backs. So keeping the legs bent, feet flat onto the floor, come all the way down to flat back, hands by your side. So maybe you roll the shoulders underneath the chest, feel the heart lifting. Heels are coming in towards the sits bones, toes are projecting forward. If you like, you can take your hands and grab the outer edges of the mat if that helps, or the hands can be flat onto the floor. Taking a big inhale, we'll lift the hips up towards the sky. Chest comes towards chin. Chin lifts up towards the ceiling as we press the back of the head into the floor, protecting the neck. So we have this nice diagonal plane going from chest to knees. And staying here for 3 more full cycles of breath. And on the exhale, lower the hips back down to the floor. We'll draw both knees into the chest, into our Uttanasana pose. So you can hold your legs behind the knees, you can hold on top, and we'll just rock from side to side here. And coming back onto flat back, let the arms come out to the side. And we're going to lift the legs just a little bit so that the calves are parallel with the floor. It's as if we're sitting in a chair here on our back. And we're going to drop both knees to the right side of the mat on the exhale. Keeping the left shoulder engaged, we'll turn our head towards the left fingertips. If this is too intense of a stretch, you can slide a block, a pillow, a blanket underneath the knees, underneath the bottom knee, for a little more support if having the knees coming all the way to the floor is not accessible. So just breathing through this spinal twist. And on the next inhale, we're going to draw the knees back up towards the chest. Uttanasana, pull the knees in, hold them with your hands. You can be in stillness, you can rock from side to side. And let's return back to that reclined chair pose. Hands come out to the side, and we're going to drop both knees to the left side of the mat on the exhale, taking your gaze out to the right fingertips. So making sure that the right shoulder stays engaged with the mat. If it's lifting up, then slide a block or a blanket or some kind of support underneath the bottom knee so that the shoulder comes back down to the mat. And one more breath here. And we'll pull, we're going to come back onto the flat back and keep the feet flat onto the floor. And we're just going to engage in a gentle windshield wipers from side to side. So you might even want to take the knees a little bit wider than the hips. And you can drop the knees from one side and then the other at your preferred pace. Now come back into center, feet stay planted on the floor, heels towards the body. We're going to make a very small movement here. So let the hands come down to the side. But this is like a cat-cow on our back. So it's a very small movement, but this is very nice for low back issues. So when we inhale, tilt the pelvic cup back so that we're pushing the tailbone into the floor. You'll feel a little bit of an arch in the back. And when you exhale, tuck the tailbone, lower abdominals flatten out the low back. So we inhale, pelvic cup is coming forward, tailbone's going back. And when we exhale, pelvic cup is going back, tailbone is coming forward. So it's just a very gentle rocking, just like we do in our cat-cow. We're not lifting the hips off the floor. It's just that very small movement in the low back. Just doing this for a few more rounds of breath. And one more time. And then we'll send our legs down the mat, or if you want to, slide a bolster or a blanket underneath the knees. Or maybe you want to return back to our crocodile pose, which is how we started. If you want to spend that pose in crocodile, if you want to spend your Savasana in crocodile, feel free. Otherwise, find whatever is your most comfortable position. With the eyes closed, allowing the eyes to roll back away from the eyelids. Softening the crown of the head. Softening the forehead, the eyebrows, and smoothing out the space between the eyebrows. Softening the temples and the cheeks and unhinging the jaw. With each breath, continue sending this relaxation through the body. Softening the back of the neck, releasing the shoulders, allowing the weight of the arms to connect with the earth beneath you. Breathing into the upper back. And as you exhale, releasing all the muscles of the back as you work your way down to the mid back, the low back, the tailbone. Just feeling the weight of the body connecting to the earth beneath you. Softening your throat sensor. collarbones, heart center, rib cage. The only present movement in the body is the breath, with each inhale and each exhale. Softening the hips and the thighs, the shins and calves, the feet and toes, feeling the weight of the legs connecting down to the earth beneath you. Not controlling the breath or sending it any particular place. Just allowing it to flow through the body naturally, letting it be whatever it is in this moment. And releasing yourself into this pose, receiving the flow of this very present moment. Just continue resting here until I begin to talk you back out of this pose again. Begin to deepen the breath as you bring more attention back into the room. Begin making wiggles with your fingers and your toes. Gradually building movement with the wrists and the ankles. And start to turn your head from one side and then the other. And then find whatever bigger movement serves you well. Maybe it's a big stretch. Maybe we return back to windshield wipers or knees to chest. You decide where you need to go in this moment. And then make your way to one side or the other, cradling your head in the crook of your arms. Your knees are stacked on top of each other, coming into the fetal position. And then we'll press our hands up into the floor, coming back up to any comfortable seated position. And you can sit legs crossed, or however it feels best right now. We'll close our practice with a shared breath. So with the next inhale, reach the arms up overhead or gaze to our palms as we bring them together. And exhaling, hands to heart center, eyes closed, head slightly bowed. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me today. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free. May we all live in peace. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.